Hey, so I'm sure there's other people out there like me that have had an instrument that they've had for a really long time and they just kind of got tired of it and they wanted to switch it up and we're thinking about getting something new. Maybe it was just because of physical reasons, and that's fine, you know. I've had that situation happening with my Schecter bass, stiletto. I've had this bass for a really long time, and physically it just wasn't pleasing me anymore, and I was getting itchy, and I'm sure all of you other musicians out there are kind of on the same page with me, where a lot of the times we're just broke. So it's cool. We can do it ourselves. It just takes a little bit of time and effort. I already started this project. One of my friends recommended that I try to make like a little video of the progress of it. So I'm kind of jumping into it in the middle of it here. But basically, this is how we're going to customize and rechange an instrument. And hopefully this will help somebody out there. So to start with, you're going to need some sandpaper. I started off using the 60 coarse wood sandpaper to get off all of the clear coating and veneer. I also have a 150 for fine on the wood, and then I also have a 3000 grit as well. After I'm done sanding with all of these sandpapers, I'll then be going to a steel wool quadruple zero. I'm also using a Makita palm sander. If you don't have one of these machines, it's okay. You can do it by hand, but it will take you forever. The Makitas are pretty easy to use. You load your paper up onto the pad. There are clips. Some of the newer ones are much cooler, but you open up your clip and then you will press on the piece. It will allow the clamp to open. You stick your sheet right inside on the teeth area there. And when you let go, it tightens it down and holds it in place. Very simple to use. I do not know how to use tools, but I can get along well with this friend and not have any issues. So basically, where we're at today is I have the bass body here, totally stripped down, removed the veneer. I still have some sanding to go. And also on the back, you could see there's still some clear coating and everything inside of this area. So that's going to be what I'm going to be doing today. I want to get rid of all that gloss, and possibly, depending, I might remove all the stained wood as well and bring it down to a true natural state. I'm still unsure. I might even leave this darker tone. That way when I stain, it has a bit of a style. But we'll see. All right? And guys, when you're deciding to do any kind of work that has to do with sanding on anything, whether it's wood or finished wood like this, where there's clear coating or paint or anything like that, definitely make sure to wear a mask. I learned my lesson, and I inhaled a lot of this paint yesterday, and my lungs are feeling it today, extremely feeling it. A lot of mucus going on, and a lot of coughing. So during COVID times, we do not want everybody to think we have the vid and walking around and choking and everything like that, you know. So try to do your best to protect yourself. Wear something to cover up your face. Today I'm going to be using an N95 because that's all I have. But I am going to be covering up my face with an N95 mask. I highly recommend covering your face while you're sanding. You do not want to breathe in all of this fine wood and chemicals. It will fuck you up. So yeah, here we go. Certain areas of this neck are very hard to get. You can't get it with the machine, so I'm just using the sandpaper in my hand, and I'm going to be working on it over here. I just said I was going to use a mask, but I wanted to have a cigarette, so here I am being an idiot again. But with this hand sand, you're not nearly getting as much mess in the air, so slowly, gently, let the paper do the work. Don't make yourself go crazy. Don't kill your hands and your arms and your wrists, because it will hurt after a while. Just be gentle about it. Be patient. The job will get done. As you can see, I'm starting to clear away everything along the horn area, which I wasn't able to get with the machine. It's working out just fine with hand. It just takes a little longer, takes a little bit of effort, but you'll get the work done, and you won't have to worry. You'll have a beautiful piece in the end. Only been a few minutes. I had one cigarette. Mask is back on. You breathe in a lot more of it than you realize. I can't stress the importance of wearing a mask while you're sanding, because you're just breathing in a ton of crap. Yeah. Now I got most of the inner horn taken care of on both of these sides, which is what I had originally needed to take care of. I'm gonna go back to the hand sander for a moment, and I think I'm gonna try to work away a little bit more of this dark stain that's on the face and see what we can come up with. I might take it to natural wood, I'm not sure yet. Let's try it out and see. I started to strip away the entire stain finish that was on the front here, and I think I'm going to bring it down to true natural wood all the way. That way my stain job will just be a uniformed, beautiful stain. I made the decision, I'm not really feeling the two-tone, and that's what's up. About an hour or so worth of work, and I was able to pull off the two top horns. Got a lot more to go here, but eventually it's all worth it in the long run. So yesterday, weather didn't really permit me to get some more sanding done. Today, I'm going to pick up where I left off. I have the top half pretty much taken off with this stain. Today I'm going to finish up with the stain over here, try to clear this off, and then I'm going to start sanding more delicately. I noticed as I got into it that the back, I don't know if you're able to see it, you probably can't, still has some really big chunks ripped out of the bottom of the body here, so it's a little bit too deep. I'm gonna have to sand way too much to get these away, so I think I'm gonna end up getting a wood putty, laying into it, and then having to sand over it to get rid of the imperfections. But step one is to finish off the sand, and then I'll take it from that point.
I was able to get off the rest of the staining, sorry, by sanding with the 60 grit wood sandpaper, which is a very rough and coarse sandpaper, to be able to pull off a nice big chunk. After I was done with the 60 grit, I then went to a believe it was a 150 grit, which is a fine for wood. Ran over it with that, and now I am using a quadruple zero steel wool, and I'm just running over the body, trying to make sure that it's as smooth as it can possibly be. I don't want to have any kind of chunked wood or feel, cracks that I can feel or anything in it. I want everything to be really nice and smooth, so that way when I lay my stain, it'll be as close to a pro finish as I would buy it from a store. So the goal here is get her sexy. You want to be able to touch this thing and run your hands across it and not catch any splinters, and just feel good. That way when you're done, you could really feel proud of it. This is very important to make sure that you sand everything down, and get it as perfect as you can, because if you don't, all that imperfection is just going to show, and you're going to be so miserable about it in the long run. Skipping this tedious task is ultimately just going to give you a horrible outcome. So don't be afraid putting in some time. This is a project. This isn't going to happen overnight. Don't expect it to. You're going to put some time into it, but in the long run, it's going to be completely worth it. Now I'm going to run over this body with the steel wool about 2 or 3 times, possibly even more depending on how she feels. When I'm done, I'm going to clean it up really good with a little bit of water on a rag. I want to try to get all that dust off of her, and then we'll take it from there and hopefully start staining.
After I'm done with everything, I'm just using a very small rag with a little bit of water, wiping down the wood, cleaning off all the sand and dust that's on it. I mean, once you wet it, you could kind of see all the natural graining in it. You could see the way the wood is going to look. Obviously unfinished, finished, unfinished. So it's definitely going to be a really nice situation once it's all stained up with the proper coloring. I'm looking forward to it. But you really want to clean up the instrument really well before you get into any kind of painting. And then we're just going to plug up the cavities for the pickups. We're going to try to plug up the pots for the volumes. The bridge screws, I'm going to try my best to shove something in there, maybe toothpicks or something, try to block it off. I don't want to overpaint any of the areas where the instruments, pickups or screws are going to be going in, because you don't want to make the hole smaller with paint mass or stain mass. You want everything to fit nice and smoothly. You don't want to have any kind of troubles. So that's kind of the mission at this point, and we'll be back with some more. Woohoo! Alright, so the guitar dried up after being washed down, and I plugged up the holes with a couple pieces of paper. I'm going to have to be very delicate about doing this. So while I do the stain, I'm going to be using a tack cloth for it. I'm going to be very gently applying very light coats, and trying to avoid the edges of the pickups and the pots. That way we don't end up getting a massive paint. First, I'm going to wipe down the piece of wood with the tack cloth, so that way we get any kind of dust or fibers off of the body. Then I'll be using a separate tack cloth to start applying the stain. Shake your cans up really well. I'm using a screwdriver to open up the can. Make sure you have a glove on for the application. You don't want to get this shit on your hands. And definitely be outside if you can, so that you have proper ventilation. I don't really have anywhere to put the phone. I'm going to use a new tack cloth. Give a slight dip into the stain after I've shaken it very well. Try not to let any of the runs go, and then I'm going to start to make an application. I'm going to be doing multiple layers here, so there's no need to really be worried about thin or thick. I just want to get a little bit of this stuff down and start to see how it's going to play off. I just did a little bit of gray with a little bit of a streak of the blue. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little bit of the gray again and just kind of deepen up again once over where it is and try to blend them in together nicely, because I really don't want too much of a bleed over. I want a nice fade out. And after the first top coat, we're starting to get some coloration here, and we're gonna blend it in a little bit, you know, and once it starts to dry in, you'll see the grain through this, and I'm hoping to get kind of a nice faded out gray and blue body. And the neck is ready. Very, very cool. But the real part, bada boom. Loki snakehead symbol, super, super vintage looking. Looks like it was beat through hell, just like me. Fucking love it. And of course, I had to initial the work. And I even gave myself an autograph down on the last fret. I can't wait to put this thing back together, but I'm not able to yet. I still have a lot of work to do because all of the frets have to be refretted before I can get this bass back in playing order. Every single one of these frets have been raising up out of the fretboard and causing some trouble, so we're gonna fix this, but that's that. The artwork is complete.